Is keto sustainable? And this is my take on that. Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's Christine with Gauge Girl Training, an online meal planning and coaching service. In today's video, I'm going to answer your most common questions about whether or not the ketogenic diet is right for you and how to get started with it. So let's get started. Today we're going to talk about keto. Keto is on everybody's mind and everybody's wondering whether or not it's right for them. And just want to give you guys a brief overview of the ketogenic diet, and I'm going to go through some of the most frequently asked questions that have been written in to me about this diet. I've consolidated them all on a list, and I think you guys will really appreciate it. So what is the ketogenic diet? The ketogenic diet is a high-fat, low-carb protocol where your body is fueled off of ketones. Ketones are generated because your body is no longer consuming carbs, and as a result, it allows your body to tap into stored body fat a little bit easier. So one of the most common questions I get is how to make the switch to keto easier. And what I would say to that is I encourage you to make the transition at maintenance calories. So if you are switching to a completely brand new way of eating where you're high fat, you're low carb, and the specific ratios are around 70 to 75% fat, 20 to 25% protein, and about 5% net carbs. Now, that's not a lot of carbs for most people. And if you are going in a caloric deficit and you are completely switching your types of foods, you may struggle implementing both changes at the same time. So I encourage people, if you want to do keto, to make that transition either at maintenance calories, which for some people that could be closer to 2,000 calories per day, or intuitively first. Get your body used to not having to eat carbs, get used to feeling full and satisfied without that piece. And then from there, I would encourage you to begin the caloric deficit element. But to get started, it could be a little overwhelming, and some of you may not do so well if you just try to do too much all at the same time. So I would encourage you to make that transition either at maintenance calories or intuitively first before you implement a caloric deficit. The next question I get all the time is, what mentality do you need to be successful on keto? And I have an analogy for this because I think that some people think of the idea of keto as dieting harder when it is not that case. It's not necessarily going to make you lose weight faster than any other approach. It's all about being in a caloric deficit. However, some people struggle with the concept of not eating carbs or eating very, very little. Yes, you can have some leafy greens. Yes, there are some vegetables and some small carbs that you can have, but for the most part, you're essentially not eating carbs. If you've been on keto for some time and you're looking at a donut and you're like, dang, I really want that donut, or you're like, it could be something that is like a banana or some rice. It could be something like that, and you're looking at that and just feeling like, man, I really want that. I would encourage you to not look at it as deprivation. I would encourage you to look at it as, this is just not the appropriate fuel for my engine. No different than you would not put diesel fuel in a car that takes unleaded gas. You wouldn't fuel your body that is thriving off of ketones with a source of glucose, because it's gonna mess up the engine, if that makes sense. All right, the next question is, how do cheat meals impact you if you are on keto? The answer to that is, if you are on keto and you're going to take a cheat meal, I encourage you to go higher in calories but staying within keto ratios, meaning eat more keto foods, go higher calorie, don't necessarily shift over to carbohydrates. Now, if you've been keto adapted for some time, there are some people who are able to effectively have carbs once in a while. When I say once in a while, maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks maximum. and introduce them for one day or even one meal and then get back into it. But in general, I would not recommend moving over to carbs for your cheat meals. I would recommend, having more cheese, more avocado, more fattier cuts of meat, more salmon, more nuts, there's so many great keto recipes and desserts and treats out there, more fat bombs. I just don't recommend you switching over to carbs until you've been adapted and established with a ketogenic protocol for at least 6 to 12 weeks. So another question I get all the time is, what is a substitute for coconut butter? So if you guys have not seen this meal plan, which is the Shred on a Budget Keto edition, we also have this program available in the dairy-free edition and our new Asian and Italian keto shred programs. You guys will know that I include coconut butter, not coconut oil, coconut butter in these protocols. And the reason I include coconut butter is because for 2 tablespoons, you're getting 18 grams of fat, but you're getting 5 grams of fiber. And on a ketogenic protocol, most people don't get enough fiber. So some people are like, well, I can't find that. What do I use? What I would encourage you to use instead is you could use something like some chia seeds, some flax seeds. You could use some nuts. Just don't forget to get your fiber. For those of you on keto, yes, you can, work with the net carbs and do all that kind of stuff, but do your best to try to get at least like 15 to 17 grams of fiber per day for women, and obviously it's going to be more for men. But fiber is just that one nutrient that, yes, even though you're low in carb, you still need your fiber for so many digestive health reasons. So that is why I recommend coconut butter. I even encourage you guys to order it online if you have to, but I prefer that as a fat source over coconut oil just because of the added fiber. The next question I get a lot is keto sustainable? And this is my take on that. For some people, given your health circumstances, whether you have insulin resistance, PCOS, diabetes, some serious health and medical issues, it almost kind of needs to be sustainable for you to manage your health properly. For other folks who may be struggling with pre-diabetes, or for other people who are struggling to get their sugar cravings under control and are struggling to establish a way of eating that is steady, where you're not driven by cravings, and that's one of the benefits of being on a high-fat protocol. I think that number one, yes, keto is sustainable and it needs to be for some, but for others, I almost think that keto can be a very good protocol to follow seasonally. When I say seasonally, meaning it doesn't mean if you do keto, you need to do keto forever and ever, but there is a benefit to giving your body a break from having all of these blood sugar spikes and just dealing with insulin. And as a result of giving your body a break from the carbs for a period of time, when I say period of time, I'd say at least somewhere in that 6 to 12 week range, I'd say probably at least 12 weeks, you will improve your body's ability to handle carbohydrates as a result. So if you guys have more questions about the ketogenic diet, there is this really great book called The Keto Cure. The Keto Cure is written by several authors, but notably my friend Jimmy Moore. He's got a really great podcast. There is a lot of good technical information for those of you who want to read up more on the science. And Jimmy Moore also has a new book out right now called Real Food Keto. There's recipes in it. It's all about for those of you who want to try a ketogenic diet, but also introduce real whole foods and how to go about doing that. So there are a lot of good books out there. This book, Keto Cure, is really awesome. There's recipes in it, and it just has a lot of in-depth resources, talking about everything from kidneys, supplementation, case studies, using keto to cure some issues that some of you guys may have. So if you want to check this out, I'll have the link below where you guys can read more. But if you guys want some practical meal plans on the ketogenic diet, we have our 6-week shred budget edition available for men and women. This is available dairy-free for men and women, regular for men and women. We also have some specialty cuisines, the Asian and Italian keto shreds. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one.